Hey, now on the Army Rock Show, we have our buddy Frank Palangi from New York. Frank, a regular visitor to the Army Rock Show to give us updates on everything cool going on in his career. Frank, welcome back to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me again. What's going on?
Hey, well, I'm going to ask you that right back, what's going on, because it's kind of a big week, you know. At the time we're talking now, man, looking back there on the iTunes, this week, or last week actually, Break These Chains, brand new tune released from you. So, hey, give us a little bit of a background on the tune. I know you got a ton of songs in your arsenal. How hard was it to pick this one for the next release?
It was actually easy. I actually made it up Thanksgiving. I had about a half an hour or so before I had to go to lunch, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pick up the guitar and kind of doodle around a little bit. And I literally just started playing the song in order all the way up to the chorus, and all of a sudden, the words started to come out, and I started getting basically the generic version of it. And I was like, I played it for my parents. I go, what do you think? I go, that's a little different. It's a little different. And after I made the demo, I showed it to my producer, Brian Craddock, and he's like, dude, he goes, we got to do that song. And I go, I think so. I go, I think we got to not scrap the other ones, but do this one first. And I trust his judgment too, because Brian's in the band Daughtry, so he's I trust him.
Yeah, man, Daughtry being a pretty great songwriter in his own right. So let me just discuss what you just said. So did you actually write that entire tune in a couple hours?
Yeah, within 25 minutes, all the way up to the chorus, pretty much. So I had the chunk of what is the song, and the whole structure baseline of it. It was probably the fastest song I've ever wrote.
That was going to be my next question. Did you ever have one come to you that fast before? Was there some kind of inspiration? Was it the fact that it was Thanksgiving, or was it just blind luck that it just kind of came to you?
I don't know. I was just in my head. I was like, I want to play something right now that I maybe strum it a little bit different, or it's kind of a mix. And I've never played anything with that beat because it comes in like and I'm like, that's very different from my other stuff. I was like,
so give folks a little idea lyrically. I was listening to the tune today, and I tend to read too much into lyrics, but still, tell me a little bit about lyrically what Break These Chains has going on there.
Well, it's about, breaking away past things maybe you've done. It's about moving forward. I mean, all my songs have a theme of positivity through them, but, Break These Chains is a metaphor for whatever you're going through. You want to you want to break through and get where you're going. And to me, it's kind of a statement right now, along with my past song, I Am Ready, as far as the fans are digging it. It's kind of it's a new sound, kind of a new direction, and working with Brian and going to Virginia to record it down there. It's been quite an experience, and I've got a commercial actually coming out for this song too on Time Warner Cable here in New York.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And I actually saw something. Can you still get a ringtone for this tune?
You can. All the cell phone providers, if you guys have the iTunes store, just type in Break These Chains or my name, and you'll be able to find it right there. It'll definitely wake you up if you're using it for something like that. It starts out with that punch.
Now, I know you've got albums out there, you got singles. Is there anticipation that you're going to keep releasing some singles on the horizon here? Are you planning on an EP or a record? What does the near horizon look like?
Well, last year I did 2 singles, and this year all I could do was pretty much this one song because I'm putting a lot of my eggs in the basket, and I'm kind of reaching new marketing stuff, and it's all costing more. But I do want to put Hope, Live It Up, Falling 2, and I've got a new song I'm writing called Red, White, and Blue that I want to put on a future EP. But it all depends on how well the song does and where the finances come in to get this finished. But I can tell you I've already recorded Live It Up. That's all done. And Hope I'm going back and rehashing. And, I hope Falling 2 is going to make it on there, but you never know.
So for artists like you now that, you know, you've got so much talent, you got so many songs out there, what is like the big next thing you need? Is it the airplay? Is it logging onto a tour? Is it a video? Like what tends now in the industry to be the next big break for people?
I think, I mean, personally for me, I've never done a tour, you know, more than, say, 5 days or something. You know, I'm looking to hit something with a national act or regional act to tour, you know, the area up here, or if finances, you know, have their way, I could go further. But I think that's the one thing I'm missing, because that's how you reach more fans. I mean, I always reach fans during social media, because I'm always good about marketing and promoting and, you know, getting back to everybody. But I think that's the one thing for me, like personally, the way I feel is like, you know, I haven't toured with any, you know, quote unquote, you know, national respectable type artists. You know, I've did some shows, some one-offs, couple dates here and there, but I think that would throw me in another direction. And, you know, marketing, like I wanted to move to TV rather than radio, because radio to me is kind of, there's no way in, it's kind of dead nowadays. Besides internet radio, you know.
Yeah, I know you're well known around the internet radio circles, man. I see you. You're on our show all the time, and I see you on other shows on the networks that we air on and things like that. So you do a great job at that. But hey, man, I saw something cool. So you got your first VEVO video out there. Why don't you tell folks about that?
That's pretty cool. I've been thinking about that for 2 years, and I'm like, you know, I wish, because I'm going to use quotes, you know, official, whatever that means, official artists always have a VEVO channel. So I'm like, how do I get one? So I finally researched it, and I've got a couple of music videos out now that not all of them made the cut, but Driving These Lines was just added for my first EP. And I hope that they actually add hope to it as well. But there's like a, you know, screening process, even though I have my own channel, which you guys can subscribe to if you want to. Not every video will make it. You know, it's mostly music videos, and kind of, I'm going to try, you know, like the core interviews between, you know, like producers and other stuff too.
Yeah, that video that you put up there, Driving These Lines, was there like a kind of a Beatles inspiration behind that with the fans chasing around? What was the inspiration behind all the fans chasing you all over the city there?
That was just an idea of the director. He goes, let's get some fans and stuff. He goes, let's do it this way. He goes, you know, view it as what if you switched live, sort of. You know, because at the end of the video, I give the guy my jacket, and he fakes, you know, to become me, and I'm just the guy sitting on the sidewalk playing guitar, you know, for tips or whatever.
Man, you're like the segue king for me sometimes, because that's what I was just going to ask you next. I saw a video out on your channel of you doing like an Aaron Lewis cover song, which, by the way, was done very, very well. It was excellent. Was that like some kind of street performance, or what was I watching there?
Yeah, that was, it was called Take a Bite here in Glens Falls, New York. And literally they blocked off the street, and it was just me playing in the middle of the street. And, you know, there's food vendors and stuff that day, so people can walk around, they can sample all the food. And my friend actually, he filmed that with a cell phone, and that's what that was.
The audio quality was pretty good on that thing, man. Have you ever tried the street performer thing? Have you ever like gone onto the subway station or something? Have you ever like just sat out there and said, let me see what kind of a crowd I can attract? Have you ever tried it?
I've tried here, because I don't live near the city, so there's no subways or anything, but I've tried playing on the sidewalks, just, you know, playing down at a place, or we have Lake George and the Adirondacks up here. A lot of tourists come up during the summer, so a lot of, through certain companies, you know, I know the ones to get a hold of to set up, and I've tried that, and to be honest, I've got a couple friends that do it. You only make like minimum wage an hour. I mean, people think, you know, you make a lot of money. If you're there 8 hours, you know, you could make $80, $100, but really, I mean, it's like $8 to $10, you know, an hour of people throwing stuff in, or once in a while they'll buy a CD or something. But it's tough. I mean, people that just do that, like there's people that just hang out and do that 5 days a week. I guess you can make a living. It's just tough. It's just really tough, you know.
It's not going to be quite the living you're looking for as a musician, I'm sure. But
no.
Just curious, because some of those guys have got some real talent. But hey, I really was serious about that cover of Aaron Lewis. Your voice, I'd never thought of, but it matches really well. Is there one artist in particular that you just love to cover?
Yeah, I love Metallica. I mean, it's just kind of certain songs. So I love Johnny Cash. I love covering Johnny Cash.
Big difference there, Metallica and Johnny Cash.
Well, I do them differently. You know, Johnny Cash, because I have a lower voice, so I actually I sound like I'm a little bit doing the lower stuff. And then Metallica, I have the grit in my voice, so I bring that out and do that kind of stuff. So, man, I guess hats off to you for, we talked earlier about your marketing, man, and you are really on, like, the kind of shows like we are here and the internet radio shows, you're really one of the kings around that thing. I see you everywhere. How many, like, internet radio show interviews do you do in a week? I had somebody else ask me. I do that when a song comes out. I call it, like, a radio tour, and, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I can do 3 interviews a day. You know, so I had that up over like two weeks or so. So, hey man, the tune is called "Break These Chains," and it's available right now out there on iTunes. And if you really like the tune, you can get it as the ringtone on your cell phone. And as Frank warned you, it might be kind of a robust wake-up call, but still something pretty good. Frank, anything else you got coming on the horizon you want to tell folks about? I know you got a couple shows coming up. I've got some local shows here. I mean, nothing too big. It's just stuff that I play and make a living for. But you guys, actually, I missed the show. I got to play at an FYE in Johnstown, and they've been selling all my stuff, and they're the only FYE in the country that has independent musicians. So that was cool. Saying, like, FYE selling my music and going there, and so that was a pretty cool experience. But I don't know if I mentioned, I got a website too, frankpalangi.com. I've had that for almost a year now. And, I keep that up with all my stuff. I gave in, I made an Instagram account, so if you guys have Instagram, follow there. But,
hey man, Frank Palangi, everybody, calling us from New York this evening. And, Frank, you're always welcome to the show. We always have a good time talking to you. It seems like you always got something coming out that I can share with our listeners. So, once again, the tune, Break These Chains. Very cool tune from Frank Palangi. Go out and pick it up. And, Frank, man, thanks again for being here on the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And, I'll talk to you guys later.